Do you think your life story would make a good book? Most people do. Are you sleeping too much? New research suggests that too much sleep can lead to cognitive decline. And we'll have a list of America's most hated Thanksgiving foods today on Older and Wiser. Hey folks, welcome to Older and Wiser. I'm Bob Bates in Los Angeles. Normally we've got Susan SIKORA up there in Northern California. She's not feeling well today. So I put out a call for a stand-in, and thankfully one of my family members stepped up to the plate. So please welcome my eldest, Chloe Bates from Austin, Texas. Good morning, Chloe.
Howdy, y'all. Thanks from Texas.
This is your first time on Older and Wiser. I'll have to play the older, wiser one. You can be whatever. All right?
I'm pretty young. I can be younger and dumber.
Older and wiser, younger and dumber.
Younger and dumber.
All right, let's get started. Our first topic today comes to us from one poll on behalf of Thrift Books. And here's the headline. A recent survey finds that 55% of Americans believe their life story is worthy of becoming a book or a movie. How do you feel about that? I wanted to call you Susan there for a second. How do you feel about that, Chloe? Do you think your life is really worth... you're only 27, so maybe it's too soon to be writing your life story, but do you feel like you've got enough that you could get a few pages together to make a good book?
Honestly, no. I haven't had anything interesting happen to me. As we're sitting here, I can't think of a single thing. So I did experience the Texas snowstorm, which was a bit dramatic for a few days. But even then, I lost power, lost water, was pretty cold, but had some good buddies. And I just don't think that I had an interesting experience around that. I moved to Texas. That's not really an interesting story. Had a regular college experience. Grew up normal.
God, what a bore. You really are a dull person.
I'm such a dull person. And it's so interesting that 55% of people think that they're interesting.
Well, and I'm 67 years old, and I have to agree with you that I also don't feel that my life is worthy of a book either. Let's say you did have a book. Who would you want to play you?
In the movie?
Yeah.
I could see like a Jennifer Aniston, like a young Jennifer Aniston would be really fun for me.
That's who you think?
Like future me could be Jennifer Aniston.
All right.
I think that'd be cute.
I think I'd go for Jeff Goldblum.
Yes.
I kind of like that whole vibe. I would aspire to a Jeff Goldblum kind of person. Who do you think should write your life story if someone were to write it? According to this survey, the number one person that people wanted to write their life story was J.K. Rowling, followed by Stephen King, of all people.
These are just the most well-known writers. These are people hiding behind the fact that they don't read and just saying, "Oh, who would I want to write my life story? Who's a single author I can think of?"
Oh, that's exactly it. Yeah.
J.K.
You're
Rowling.
Right. These people they don't read a lot, probably. Yeah. Because why would you pick Stephen King to write your life story unless your life story was a bit of a horror story to start with?
I know. And J.K. Rowling is not a biography writer.
15% of people surveyed here have tried their hand at writing a book. I actually did that. Did I?
How many people?
15% of people have tried to write their own life story. I actually tried to write a book. I didn't attempt to write a life story because I knew that would bore people to death. But I did try to write a fictional piece. I took a little writing class where they said you could learn to write a book in a weekend. So I went away to this little camp where you write all weekend long. And I got about 200 pages out of the deal.
Whoa!
Yeah. It was a terrible...
That's amazing.
No, it was a terrible book. So, no.
What was it about?
It was terrible. It was about... The idea was that you take a pill and it reverses the effects of alcohol, but but accidentally, what it also does is it takes you back to your childhood. It's a weird idea. I don't know. Yeah. So that was my book. According to this survey, 40% of people simply couldn't come up with an ending for their book, and the other 36% say they got bored of their own story and gave up. They gave up partway through. All right, let's move on to our next survey today. This is a sleep survey. According to this, 1 in 3 adults say they do not regularly get 7 hours of sleep a night. I don't doubt that. How many hours of sleep a night do you get?
Oh, I am a big sleeper. I have to get my full 8 hours at the absolute minimum, and I often get 10 hours.
You know, it's hard to say what effect that has at your age. They do say you really should get at least 7 hours of sleep per night. Sleeping less than 7 hours is associated with an increased risk of developing chronic conditions later on, obviously not at your age. You know, older and wiser people know that in their age range, they get things like obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, and lots of other stuff like that if they don't.
So you pronounce it diabetes?
Well, how do you pronounce it? Diabetes? Diabetes,
yes.
Or is it diabetes?
I say diabetes, but I feel like you're referencing that Wilford Brimley commercial from like 10 years ago where he famously said diabetes, and it kind of went viral on the internet.
Well, Wilford Brimley is sort of that. Maybe that's who should play me in the movie. Actually, I am sort of a Wilford Brimley type. Yeah, sort of. He died. Yeah. But he was good in that movie Cocoon. Did you ever see Cocoon? That's a movie you should watch.
I did see Cocoon. That's a fun movie. We should rewatch that.
I didn't really. Did I see that with you? I don't think I did.
I think we did watch it when I was a kid. I was like early teens.
That's a great movie for old people to watch with young people because it sort of makes you realize that old people can be fun too. Like, you know, we start get all stodgy and dull in our old age, but when you watch that movie, you feel like, oh yeah, old people still have some life left in them, and they remember what it was like to be young. So, yeah.
That's nice.
According to this other survey I thought was interesting, this is out of Washington University School of Medicine, and they published a paper that indicates that getting too little sleep or too much sleep can result in cognitive decline. Are you concerned at all about Alzheimer's in your life?
Definitely.
Your grandfather had Alzheimer's, so it's something you got to keep an eye out for because there's a hereditary link to it.
Now, I'd like to spend a minute running through our medical history.
Okay. Yeah, well, I feel like I'm at the doctor's office. Do you want me to get my prescription bottles out too, so you can see what I'm taking? I'll do it.
Run through some of the big conditions that I should be most worried about because of my genetic predisposition.
All right. Well, your grandfather had heart disease, and he had colon cancer. So you got to be careful about cancers. You got to keep checking that. You're maybe a little too young to start colonoscopies, but we'll think about that.
Oh God, I don't want to do that.
No, that's easy. They put you to sleep. It's fine.
God.
No, it's fine. And then the heart disease, you just want to keep an eye, because my father had heart disease and my mother had breast cancer. So cancers are...
Oh, my God, everything. I've got everything. And also every single part of my body I've got to keep an eye on.
Yeah, all parts. You're going to have to get a scan like once a year.
Oh, this is horrible news. I thought I was coming onto a podcast just for fun, and now I'm worried about my entire life's health.
All right. Well, try not to worry about it right now. It's a little too soon. But eat good foods. Don't eat a lot of fried foods.
Now, how much sleep are you getting?
I didn't sleep well last night, so last night I would say probably, 10 hours. I sleep a lot. I do like to sleep. I don't have any problem with the sleep area if it's The nice thing is for me, my schedule is such that if I wake up at 7, and I'm bored or tired, I can go back to sleep and sleep some more. So that's good. But
And are you using those sleep trackers? Are you checking in on a sleep tracker at all to see the quality of your sleep?
that's the kind of thing you have on your cell phone, right? Where you put it by the side of the bed and it tells you in the morning how restful your sleep is.
Yeah, exactly. They're kind of interesting.
It's like an app on a phone. Have you tried that? What is it? What did it tell you?
Oh, it felt kind of random and sort of unconnected to my actual experience. So it might be completely made up. And it's a little bit addictive. You're like, oh gosh, I haven't had a green night's sleep in weeks. It's all reds and blues. I really need to have a green night's sleep in order to feel fine during the day. And then you just become a little bit obsessed with seeking that perfect number.
I see. So the green is good sleep, and red means you're restless. Is that it? I might get
Yeah,
that app on my
exactly.
phone. It's probably a free app, right? You can probably download it for free.
Yeah, I think so. You just need to turn it on.
Let me also mention on this study showed that sleeping longer than 6.5 hours was associated with cognitive decline over time. So for older people, it's probably not a good idea to sleep 10 hours because that actually can result in some cognitive decline. They say possibly pre-Alzheimer's, that kind of stuff. So
Wait, so sleeping less than 7 hours is bad for you, and sleeping more than 6.5 hours is bad for you?
You caught the discrepancy in these two studies, Chloe. Very nice job. Yes, one study says that you should sleep a minimum of 7 hours. The other one says don't sleep more than 6.5. So what's this story? What are you supposed to do? Between 6.5 and 7 maybe is your target time. I'm not sure.
Maybe do 6.5 and then take a 30-minute nap.
Very good idea. All right, moving on to our next topic today. Here's a survey about food safety from the FDA. Most people seem to think that the place you get food poisoning is in restaurants rather than in your refrigerator. What do you think?
That's what I always think too. I feel like the path I usually take when I've gotten food poisoning, and I've only gotten food poisoning a couple times, is who around me is also not sick or sick, and did we eat the same thing or not the same thing?
Yeah, that's the way you sort of investigate whether you've got food poisoning or not. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I Nancy Drew it. I get my magnifying glass and follow the little breadcrumbs. I do my interviews. I become a total detective when I get food poisoning.
You know, that's smart. That's smart. Many of these respondents thought that raw chicken or raw beef was really the two worst things. 93% of people thought that if you got sick, you probably got sick because you didn't have well-cooked chicken. 66% thought it was the beef that they ate. And only a few people, 99% or 6%, thought that it was either raw vegetables or fruit that did it.
I always think it's fish.
Oh, interesting. See, this is
I
why.
always think it's
What about sushi? Are you afraid to go to a sushi restaurant as a result of that fear?
No, I love sushi, but the thought is in my mind. Is this going to make me sick? I don't know. I'll take the risk.
Yeah. Fish, raw fish, or anything raw, any meat, anything that was a moving, living creature that is now dead that you are eating without cooking it, that seems like a risk. Just right there. And even touching it seems like a risk. Like I'll make salmon, frozen salmon, and if I touch it, I have to scrub my hands with lots of soap and water just to make sure I've got all that salmon juice off my hands because I'm freaked out by it. Consumers are more likely to wash their hands with soap after touching raw meat, 76%, than before preparing food. 68% will wash their hands after cracking a raw egg. Eggs just don't bother me that much. I never worried that they were germy. I guess they could be, huh?
I've heard that eggs have salmonella on the outside of the shell.
Oh.
And so when you're cracking an egg into the pan, you have to be careful not to get the shell all over the inside of the egg. I don't
Oh,
even know if that's
interesting.
true or if I made that up.
Oh, interesting. What about a meat thermometer? Do you own one?
Yeah, I do.
62% of respondents to this survey report owning a meat thermometer. The question is, do you use it?
I found that when you use the meat thermometer and you check the temperature of the food you're cooking, I'm always surprised by how much higher the temperature is than what I expected or intended to be.
Oh, I'm just the
Like,
opposite. I think I've been cooking it forever, and I think I stick the meat thermometer, and it's supposed to be 165 degrees in the middle of the chicken, and it's only 140 or something. And I'm like, I've been cooking this for forever. What's the deal?
oh, interesting.
Yeah. Do you look at the contents on the side of your packaging? That's called the nutrition facts label. 87% of the people responding to the survey do look at those package labels. But what, if anything, do you look for on the label?
I don't look at it. Do you? Are we supposed to?
Well, like, for example, me and Raisin Bran, I love my Raisin Bran, right? Okay, so I will try to compare brands of Raisin Bran to see which has the most sugar. And you're expecting me to say I shy away from that, but then no. I go for the one with the most sugar. Because I know that Raisin Bran will be the most delicious. Yeah.
I love that strategy. That's a very anti-eating disorder strategy. That's something.
right.
So I've been seeing a lot on TikTok about sort of unlearning eating disorder culture and how big of a trend it is to check calories and check contents on foods that you like. And I love that you're kind of flipping that on its head by looking for the unhealthy things and seeking out more of them.
Yes, I feel it's important to eat as much bad stuff while you can, rather than wait until you can't, and then you regret missing out on all the sugar. So there, I don't know.
I love that. I celebrate that. I'm going to
Interesting.
start embracing that.
You're just hoping to get cash in on the will sooner. Is all that? That's all you're.
Oh,
You're just trying to get me dead sooner. All right.
You're getting a bunch of Raisin Bran, very sugary for
All
Christmas.
right. Well, you are in the will, just so you know. All right. Finally, and we're almost out of time here, these are the most hated Thanksgiving foods. I know you love Thanksgiving. You love to cook on Thanksgiving. This is one of the big holidays, and we're going to be seeing you in Los Angeles this year. Tell us a little bit about first of all, your favorite thing you like to make for Thanksgiving, the dish that every year you must have on your Thanksgiving table.
Well, as you know, we are very creative Thanksgiving cooks.
Well, you are.
But-
You and your mom are. I'm not so much.
Me and my mom and Megan,
Yeah.
our sister. But I love, and this is an unpopular opinion, but I love peas. I love peas, warmed up, frozen peas, just warmed up in a pot with some butter on top, one of those little pats of butter, a little bit of salt. That is so exciting to me, and I never eat peas except on Thanksgiving. It's perfect.
Wow. I had no idea that this was something that you found so delicious. Peas, I can totally live with that. In a can or in frozen peas?
Frozen peas. Canned peas are mush city.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll make sure.
Well, what's your favorite?
I'll get some
What do
peas
you-
for you. Well, I
Okay.
like the pie. I like pie, and I would just have pie for Thanksgiving, really.
What kinds of pie?
I would have chocolate pecan pie. And that just that. I don't really need all the rest. But
Well,
here-
Dad, you can have that.
I can, because I can have whatever I want, right? So I might do it this year. We'll see. I don't know. I sort of like to sample all the things that you guys cook up.
We
Here-
could all sit down at the Thanksgiving table and you could just have an entire chocolate pecan pie in front of you while the rest of us have regular plates.
All right. We'll do that this year. Here are the top 9 things that people dislike the most on their Thanksgiving table. Number 9, mashed potatoes. I don't know why people don't like those. I mean, what's wrong with mashed potatoes? Number 8, pumpkin pie. Number 7, pumpkin pie. That's the thing, right? One of the main things, but people aren't that into it. Number 7, ham. Number 6, coleslaw. We never do coleslaw, so whatever. Number 5, stuffing or dressing. 23% just don't.
It can be
care
kind
for
of
it.
dry.
Yeah, it's just a flavored bread is really all it is, with some
Yeah.
onion pieces and stuff floating around. Green bean casserole is not a favorite. Sweet potatoes, number 3. Number 2, surprisingly, of all the things you would think people would want on Thanksgiving, turkey.
I completely agree with this one.
Why is that?
Turkey is such a hard type of meat to cook well. I just feel like no one cooks it well. My entire life we've had dry turkey,
Yep.
and we've really put a lot of effort into trying to prepare it well
Yes.
the past few years,
Right.
breaking it up into different pieces, preparing the dark meat separately from the white meat to make sure it's all juicy,
Yep.
trying every possible technique, and it still is never that exciting to eat. I would much rather have a pot roast.
Yeah,
or-
you still kind of have to slather it in gravy just to be able to choke it down, right? So
Exactly.
I don't understand why turkey is such a popular thing just in general and why we all eat it, but it's a tradition. The number one thing that people hate the most, believe it or not, is cranberry sauce. Now, I like cranberry sauce, but I could live without it. My favorite type is the kind that slides out of the can. Now,
It really does slip out of the can and retains the can shape, and I can understand why that might be repulsive to people. But I like it.
yeah, I like it. I like to chop it into little pieces. I chop it on my plate into little triangles and then eat each bite like a little triangle of that gelatinous, gluey, cranberry flavored stuff. It's chilled, it's kind of refreshing, it's a little bit tart, and it's like Jell-O. I love it.
And you got the artistic element of the perfect triangles.
All right, we are out of time. Listen, I'll tell you what. Thank you so much for just jumping in there at the last second. Susan thanks you. I thank you. You're a hero for just dropping everything and jumping online and joining us for Older and Wiser and Younger and Dumber. That'll be the new
It
title.
was a treat to join you. Thank you for having me.
All right. And for all the stuff that matters when you're 50 plus, visit us at olderandwiser.com. Susan will be back next time. We'll see you then.